Now, let's talk about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and some of the things that I've been saying for 13 years. And I'm going to show you the people talking about it. So let's jump right into it. I have said this many, many years ago, that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu should not be about medals. Many years ago, I said Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu should not be about medals. And you know the people have hijacked Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and made it theirs and have, and I will tell you, they have trashed it. But I will point out some of the people, show you some of the people who said I'm right. That you have trashed Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It should not be about the medals. And here's a man who agrees with me right here.
We're only wasting time by training some kind of techniques. We're going to work only to get medals. And when you get your butt kick on the street, you're gonna regret to have only those ineffective movements training.
I hope somewhere out there when somebody gets beat up after medaling somewhere, you just go, "Told you so."
Yes.
I tried to tell you guys. You pulled guard in the streets, just doesn't work.
Your medal's not gonna work now. And one point you have to choose if you wanna compete in an event which gonna make you feel better on the street to handle life, or you're going to compete in a tournament who will make you very efficient to get the medal, but I mean, you get your ass kicked anytime on the street, so that's not worth it.
Again, they stall, they hold, so because the vision is the medal. And that
not the street effectiveness.
Yes, so the efficiency to get the medal is different than effectiveness in real life.
Okay? Now you know more about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu than that man? That man, Rickson Gracie, is saying I'm right. That it should not be about the medals. It should be about self-defense. That's what it should be about. And it was that before it was hijacked by you know what group. Okay? So, what else? I said in the UFC, right? There's only about 6 submissions that really work in the UFC. Okay? And they are taught at blue belt and below. Now, I said that 13 years ago. 13 years ago I said it. And I will be telling you people when I trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Many of you don't realize I trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You really don't know that I trained in it. But I left it, and I left Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu many years ago for a particular reason. Did I train in it for a very long time? No, I only trained in it for 6 months. But I had been a wrestler. A high school wrestler, and actually before I got in some trouble, I was actually going to redshirt in a wrestling powerhouse in my teen years, fresh out of high school. So I knew what grappling was, and so when I joined that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, I was looking for something and didn't find it. Said something to the teacher. Me and him had a little falling out. But for those people who wonder how I come up with all this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brilliance, it's because I've been a grappler since I was 14, and all the rules apply. That being said, I've said that blue belt is what you really need to understand Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's what I said. Blue belt is what you need to understand Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And most of the submissions taught in MMA, or that work in MMA, right, are taught at blue belt and below. Most of you people have a fit because I said, well, if you're going for brown belt and you're going for black belt, it's a case of your ego. It's not a case of you needing it. It's a case of your ego. Because the difference between blue belt and brown belt is not a multitude of technique. No, but it's learning to go. It's learning actually transitions, which is the core Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Getting from one position to the next. I know it's brilliant, and your teacher never told you that because they want you to keep paying that fee for 10 years as long as it's going to take you to get your black belt, right? But the bottom line is Safe Karma is going to tell you because I am a lifelong grappler. Okay? I blew out both knees some time ago, but it doesn't do anything to get rid of the brilliance, okay, of which I have. Now, I will look at this video and say, man, you didn't have to tell all that truth. You know, you didn't have to talk about how brilliant you are, but I am going to say this. When it comes down to the martial arts and a lot of other things, it is brilliance, no matter how sickening I may sound, and no matter how sick I might get at looking at this video, it is a fact, although it might be in poor taste to say so. What does Rickson Gracie say about the blue belt? The same thing I said. Here we go. Rickson Gracie.
From your coaching teaching experience, what is the hardest belt move? Is it blue to purple, purple to brown?
Is to get the blue belt.
Really?
Yeah, because
why is that?
Because you know, from white belt you have no idea, and you start to create your reflexes, your understanding. For you to become a blue belt, you definitely have to understand the whole game. You already know how to mount, you already know the chokes, you already know the arm locks, you already know the escapes, you already feel the pressure, you already know how to handle and last longer on the training, how to breathe. So you already become a jiu-jitsu animal as a blue belt. And white belt, you nothing, you just started. And then when you become a blue belt, you know the whole game.
Okay? Next, self-defense. Let's look at self-defense. I talked about self-defense, that it shouldn't be about the medal. BJJ shouldn't be about the medal. 13 years ago, what did I say? I said Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was hijacked, and you can tell it was hijacked because it used to be about self-defense. BJJ used to be about self-defense. You know what I'm talking about, right? Who else is saying it's about self-defense? Here we go.
For your methodology, why is it that you guys stuck to the street self-defense practicum?
Because our core, our culture is support jiu-jitsu in a self-defense perspective, because martial arts is different than a game.
Right.
As you stay away from the real life, you become more like rules, sport, competitions, medals, but you go away from the core of why you practice. For me, I always try to focus and give him first the sense of self-defense aspect. You know, the program has to begin with the understanding of the elements he's gonna understand, like invisible power, leverage, weight distribution, and all those will create like the first understanding of, okay, by learning this, I'm capable to protect myself, to protect my family, to be able to speak my mind.
We got that guy, and who else do we have? Oh, his brother. Here we go.
Come from the old school. How do you feel about those kinds of adaptations?
Martial art in general is not for competition. It's for defend yourself in a street fight situation. If it doesn't work in a street fight, sorry, I won't teach my students.
So are grapplers today better or worse? How do you view the guys out there today competing?
I'm against competition, tournament, point system.
How do you get better then?
You get better by training. Karate, Taekwondo, they are not made to compete, to score a point. It became a tag game. Karate, Taekwondo, all the martial arts were made to defend yourself in a street fight situation by putting them to adding point system and rules and weight division. So that means if somebody pinch your girlfriend on her behind, you're gonna go say, hey honey, hold on, I'll take care of this. Excuse me, how much do you weigh? What's your belt? Really? Sorry honey, I can't fight this guy because he's not on my division. He's not on my belt. It doesn't work that way.
And coincidentally, I've never seen a Berimbolo work at a high level in MMA. Do you think that's coincidence? The fact that you can see it work all the time at IBJJF tournaments, you almost never see it in like a Bellator or UFC.
It doesn't work. It doesn't. That's what I'm saying. If I can't use in a street fight situation to defend myself, it's not gonna work in a fight. Forget it. I won't teach my students.
Okay, now I'm getting hot. I got a few more for you. Here we go. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a hot mess. It's a freaking hot mess. And why is it a hot mess? It's a hot mess because people don't have a real good standard as to who they promote to black belt. There are just too many black belts that just don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They really don't even know the basics. Now, let me say this to you. People mostly just have no idea how Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu works. And most of you black belts don't know how Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu works. That's right, me, Safe Carmen. Unranked in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm looking at this camera. Where's the camera? Right there. You don't know a damn thing about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and many of you have black belts. Right? But who else agrees with me that there are so many black belts that just don't know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, don't know the rules, don't know, not the rules, Hickson would hate me saying that, don't know the core and the essence of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So much so, wait till you see this, so much so that you can have people who are given black belts and are no better than blue belts, right? This is why Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a hot mess. You don't believe me? Look at this. Look, here we go.
Now, you mentioned on the great Joe Rogan podcast with Eddie Bravo that you overheard a jiu-jitsu instructor was questioned, like, can we learn self-defense? No, take Krav Maga.
Yes.
So there's probably several points in your heart where it just make you turn, because that's the whole point of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah. Was there particular points where you said, you know what, this is enough from watching other instructors?
No, I've been follow up the evolutionary process of Jiu-Jitsu. I've been giving seminars, like, at least from the last 8 years after I moved back to Brazil.
Right.
I'm focused only on travel and seminars all over the world. And I see a big need, because maybe at least 60 or 70% of the black belts which come into my seminars, they have no understanding of self-defense and some other basic related moves.
I rolled with 18 people wearing white belts for 1 minute each. They were wearing white belts, however, their actual rank ranged from white belts all the way to black belts. After each 1 minute round, I had to guess which belts I thought that they actually are, which proved to be a very difficult task. All right, let's get started. Make sure that you follow along and make your own guesses as we go. See if you're a better guesser than I am. Write down in the comments what belt rank that you think each person is. Just pause the video every time you hear the bell go off, but no cheating.
I don't think it's a white belt. You are a purple belt.
I started to feel a bit more confident after finally guessing relatively close. I thought, okay, maybe it was just a rough start, and I'm getting the hang of it now. But let me tell you.
Whoever goes last, you got this.
One guy.
Put it in here.
You are a blue belt.
Okay? And the last thing, you know. Now politically, Joe Rogan is starting to make a little more sense when he talks about Gaza. As far as I'm concerned, him, Piers Morgan, people like him, Marjorie Taylor Greene, these people are sociopaths, not so much Joe. And Joe, I got a major issue with. I think he's pretty much talentless. Anytime somebody makes their money and has become super rich by having people on their show who is smarter than him, this man is super rich for having gotten guests who are really smart to come on his show. Now, of course, his fans are going to find some reason, yeah, but that still makes him smart. That's why Colonel Douglas McGregor says the American empire is over. For the same people, because of the same people who were coming talking about, well, Joe Rogan's still smart. He's still smart, even though we get people on the channel, he's still smart. Okay? That's why the American empire is over. Because you have complete idiots who make up the bulk of the American population. And I am not talking about black folks here. Oh, no. We have our own issues, but I'm not talking about black folks. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. You know how I feel about Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, I'm just saying, I don't like to use this language, but Rampage Jackson called him a BJJ nut rider. That's what he called him, a BJJ nut rider. Well, I'm going to show you a clip. Alex, I forget his last name. It's going to come to me as soon as this video was over. Right? Alex Pereira, I think that's him. Right? Good fighter. I don't want to disrespect him. He's a spiritual guy. He's not my favorite fighter, but I am not butchering his name because I don't like him. The point is that he's given a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? And clearly is not a good grappler. I want you to hear what DC Daniel Cormier says and what Joe Rogan says in response. I want you to hear what Daniel Cormier says to Alex Pereira getting his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and not being a good grappler. Right? I want you to hear what Daniel Cormier says and what Joe Rogan says in response. Here we go.
Look at this.
Oh, they're giving
Lil
him black
Bashir just gave him his black belt.
See, I never understand this stuff.
I don't get it either.
There was no grappling.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Give it to him. Look at this.
Oh, they're giving
Lil
him black
Bashir just gave him his black belt.
See, I never understand this stuff.
I don't get it either.
There was no grappling.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Give it to him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Give it to him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Give it to him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Give it to him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Give it to him.
Okay? That's the problem with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That is a problem with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. What's the problem? It shouldn't be about meddling. It shouldn't be about getting medals. It was originally about self-defense. Next. Black belts don't know what they're doing. There were just too many black belts who have no no Q or IQ when it comes down to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And they are getting black belts. Right? For whatever reason, I have no idea.
You are a blue belt.
And 3, it is a racket. I said many years ago, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a racket. It is one of the most unethical rackets in all of martial arts history, and this is the reason why. And one of the major culprits in keeping it a racket is Joe Rogan. Here we go again.
Look at this.
Oh, they're giving
Lil
him black
Bashir just gave him his black belt.
See, I never understand this stuff.
I don't get it either.
There was no grappling.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Give it to him. Look at this.
Oh, they're giving
Lil
him black
Bashir just gave him his black belt.
See, I never understand this stuff.
I don't get it either.
There was no grappling.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Give it to him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Give it to him.
It doesn't matter. Give it to him anyway. It doesn't matter. Give it to him anyway. Okay? Those are the standards. Those are the standards of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And this is why Hickson agrees with me. This is why Royce agrees with me. This is why Carlos, bless his soul, would agree with me. This is why Carlson would agree with me. This is why Holes would agree with me. All right, so here we go. I got a lot of pent-up anger. Or not really anger, irritation. And the way I get rid of that is to do these videos. Save Carmen, fight Cam. See you next video.